There was a point in my life, bro, where I was like begging God, if I could just stop promoting, I'll be happy with whatever I do. There's been a lot of moments where I felt ashamed of where I was at, and I just never wanted to feel that way. There was a lot of relationships I was in where I was just the yes man.
When you're chasing a dream so big, there might not even be one person that you grew up with that will ever understand what it takes, the sacrifices you make.
If I waste my time, and by waste my time means I talk to you and then you don't listen to a word I say, you lost my time. That means you're not serious.
Welcome back to the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness, guys. It's another one. We're back for another one, okay? The boys, once again, was Gary last week or was a host last week?
Host last week.
Host last week, host this week.
Look at that.
Wow, you guys are fucking lucky, huh? It's this episode, listen, I'm asking Ernesto questions today, okay? He's my guest today. And it's funny because I had so many like different ways I was going to take it. I was gonna take it. There's so many.
You can take it any way you want.
No, but you know what? Like I think there's a lot of value in, you know, I've said this many times. You've been like a mentor to me in a lot of ways, and so I think there's a lot of things that you've told me that you've said online, and maybe some things that you've told me that you've never said online, or some things that you've taught me that you've never said online. And so I kind of want to use this to go deep into the mind of Ernesto Gaita, okay?
That's the title right there.
And just give people some, you know, some like let you explain some of the lessons that you've taught me over the last 6, 7, 8 years that we've been working together. So I heard this actually, and I'll start here. And I actually am just curious. I don't think you've ever said anything about this, but I heard this quote, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's something along the lines of like, in history, the people who have made the most money have always made a point of learning how to get along with people they disagree with. What do you think of that statement? Because I don't know if you have the best time doing that. So I'm curious what you think of that just in general.
Listen, I think that there's times that I will keep a relationship going even if I don't fully agree with the other person or fully love them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This all goes into relationship building. And like, I think that, you know, you have to really understand each relationship that you're building, the value that can come from it, and what can happen in the future. And if you do that for each relationship, you can look past certain things. Sometimes though, I don't look past certain things. And that's because I probably don't think I need to look past that because I probably don't value that relationship as much. Does that make sense? I think you've seen me do both sides where I'll tell you, hey, like, you know what?
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's just let that one go and let's keep the ball rolling. But then you see me on the other side too, where I'll be like, I don't ever want to see that person again.
I think you've been very strategic when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And I'll say from being your business partner that, yeah, obviously it's never going to be perfect. Maybe there's relationships that I've seen you sort of let go. I won't say cut off, but just sort of like let dwindle that maybe could have been beneficial and vice versa, kept ones that didn't end up being so beneficial.
True.
But I think you've done a good job of that. But I think, and I did learn this from you a lot, was there's also just like a morals thing, you know, where it's like, doesn't matter how much loot or money you can make off this relationship or because of this relationship, like if they have certain beliefs that are just so opposite of yours.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen you be like, I don't give a shit. Like I cannot work with that person. I don't want them around. I don't want the energy.
Well, yeah, because I'm a big energy guy.
Yeah.
And dude, that it's a real thing.
For sure.
And again, everyone can have their own opinions, but in business is a whole other situation where to build a proper culture, you have to be aligned. Yeah.
It's very
You
true.
see what I'm saying? Like, and we see it with successful cultures out there and successful companies out there. It's like, oh, why do they work so well together? Why is this team doing so well? Why do they all push for the same goal? Well, it starts with their morals and what they believe in.
Well, and I agree with that. And I think like, okay, once you hit a certain level of like how big your business is, you're obviously like, you kind of lose a little bit of control of that. Like I saw like Barbara Corkin, from Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, saying like she literally was a part of the hiring process of her company until like 500 employees. But like at that amount, you can't it's hard to make sure that every single person is super aligned with like your ethics and morals.
But you'll see if they're not, trust me.
No, for
you
sure.
You can pinpoint it pretty quickly throughout, let's say, a year or 6 months. Like you can tell.
You'll see it happen.
Yeah.
But I even think to that point, and you've always like had this mentality with the companies is like, if we're aligned on, let's say, generally speaking, like the morals and ethics and like the way that we see life, like they're gonna buy into the vision more because we're technically just on the same side of certain, let's say, social issues or ethics and morals. Like, you know what I mean? I think you've done a good job of that and instilling that here. And I think that especially when you're a small business, like I'll still call this a small business.
Yeah,
like we're not large by any means. Like you have personal relationships with everyone in the office. So it's like, if you have very separate beliefs on like certain issues, how can you grow together? And how can they want to support whatever it is that you're trying to build?
And I don't think you're ever going to have, two people that agree with 100% of things. Like but you can get into that 80% range, the 70% range where it's like, we see eye to eye on 70% of things. And the most important thing is like, if I have a business partner or an employee or a client, let's say, that sees everything in life the complete opposite of me, well, why would they trust me?
True.
Why would they trust me? Right. And again, I'll go back to it. And there's people with very successful cultures, team cultures out there, and you have to be aligned with people. It's not, again, I'm not trying to make people believe what I believe.
Yeah.
I don't care. Everyone can have their own opinions, and that's going to be life, right? Throughout my whole life. But I think if you can find people that are aligned on certain pillars, like work ethic, mindset, those things matter a lot. How you see the world matters a lot. Because if I see the world in a certain way and I'm trying to instill our company values and vision towards you, you're not even going to understand why I see things a certain way. So yeah, dude, I think there's a time and place where it's like, this relationship is worth keeping. Let's keep working on it. It's not a big deal. And then there's times where it's like, you know what? This is not worth keeping at all at this stage in our career, at this stage of our business. And that comes with time. You can't start a business and you can't really start a business and have that kind of strictness, I would say.
At the beginning.
I think it comes over time when you're growing, and then you have more say as to who you're working with.
Yeah.
I think we've seen that. Like if you go back to year one, there's times where we worked with people or brands that maybe we didn't align with 100%, but we did it for the good of our company.
Yep.
But then as time goes on, you can get pickier.
Fair. Okay. And I want to bring it back to the energy. Like you said, you're a big energy guy. And I would say there was the pandemic. We'll use the pandemic as like the marker. Pre-pandemic, you were a guy, at least in my eyes, that gave your energy to everybody.
All the time.
Like, dude, like to everybody. And I think that was something that coming in as your partner, I was already trying to be like, bro, you don't got to do it like that,
for sure.
And I was still young, so I was probably still learning the best way to say that. But that was one thing I came in, but you gave it to everybody.
Everyone.
And then again, I'm not going to say that the pandemic was the reason necessarily, but again, just using the pandemic as a marker of time. Post-pandemic, I've never seen anybody switch up so fucking hard. Where it's like, dude, like, and like people hitting me being like, bro, where's Ernesto, bro? What's Ernesto saying? And I'm like, fuck, this guy really switched up. Like he's so specific with who gets his time. Like to a level I don't think people can even comprehend. Like in like the best way possible. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I want you to explain that to people, like the transition of, again, using the pandemic as a marker. Pre-pandemic, why you did what you did, or maybe what mindset you were in, And then post-pandemic to where we are today, like that switching, like, being so picky with who gets your time. And when I say time, I want to make a point of like, I'll even break it down as like you responding to them online and then you like giving them your in-person time. Like I want to make that. So
it was both.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. I think pre-pandemic, I was just very excited to be an entrepreneur. Like I was
True.
I was just super pumped. And I think I took that with that same kind of mentality, that giving everyone my energy. I think I had that from nightlife.
True.
And in nightlife, you don't really have a choice.
Fair.
If you want to be a good promoter, whatever you want to call it, you have to give people your energy, even at times when you don't want to. So I kind of took that, and that stayed with me pre-pandemic when we started our businesses. And I think even pre-pandemic, like I didn't value my time as much, which changed. What happened pandemic times, let's say, is that I noticed that, I could give my energy to this person all day and they still don't value me. Right? So I just got really picky with it, and I said, well, and you said like, I did a 180.
Literally.
Because I was influenced by things happening around me. So, I was looking at people that I look up to and how they spend their time and what they're saying about spending time, like a PBD. I'll always go back to PBD, Gary V, these guys, right? Where it's like they're very picky with their time. And I said, okay, well, if I want to be this person and I want to be this leader and I want to have these businesses, then I have to be extremely picky with my time and energy. And it just comes down to, listen, I sit down with people still to this day, but you'll notice it's people that value my time.
Yeah.
It's two different things.
Yeah.
And I think I did a lot of testing in the first 5-6 years of our business careers where I was making mental notes. Where it's like, okay, this person values my time. This person doesn't value my time. And over time, I just said, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm only giving my energy to things I want to do or people I want to talk to. And what that means is that doesn't mean I only talk to people that are worth $20 million. I'll have meetings here on Saturday and sit down with people.
I want to make that
known. I believe in though.
I want to make that known.
And if I'm gonna give you my energy, for example, this was a big thing. I was giving a lot of people my energy, and a lot of people come to me, Searles, and they go, hey, let me talk to you about this. So I have this thing I want to talk to you. I want to pick your brain. And I'll do it. Mm-hmm. But if I waste my time, and by waste my time means I talk to you and then you don't listen to a word I say, you lost my time. That means you're not serious. Mm-hmm. I'm talking business right now. I'm not talking like family or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of the people you still see me talking to and giving my time to, it's because they actually listen to me. And I get fulfillment from that, from seeing them grow from what I told them to do.
It's fair.
Right? And a lot of the time too is like, again, we only have 24 hours in a day and I have to spend it super wisely now.
Yeah.
So again, you grow and you get pickier with your time and things stop mattering to you. There's moments that stop mattering to you because you've done them 50 times and got nothing from them. Mm-hmm. So if someone that I already sat down with 10 times for an hour each wants to get that 11th time, but they haven't listened to a word I said, or I didn't feel valued in that environment, I'm not going to do it again.
But here's the thing, and this is the interesting part. I think a lot of people will find this interesting is, and you kind of said it. I've seen you turn down like for example, being in Miami. Like I've seen you turn down dinners with guys who are worth lots of money.
Yeah.
Whereas then you'll be like, but like tomorrow morning, I'm going for a coffee with this guy who's just trying to get started in this company.
Yeah.
And which people would think is fucking crazy. Right?
For sure.
But but to that point, it's like you do it because I want to guess this, or I want to assume this, that yes, you get the fulfillment of seeing them listen to like your advice and actually grow. So there's a fulfillment aspect. But I think you also learn from teaching as well.
Always.
When you have those sort of like one-on-one consults and you're talking for an hour, like it gets your brain going. It gets you fucking thinking a little differently too, right? Yep. And I've seen you do that. I think there's a couple guys, like shout out Major, for example.
Yeah. Shout out Louis.
He's somebody that I've seen you do like multiple consults with.
Oh, by the way, I don't pay. He doesn't. I don't charge him.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. But he actually executes on the things that you guys talk about,
Yeah.
which is like the key, right?
And like, dude, when I'm spending time like that, it's an investment in myself, like you said,
Yes.
but it's also planting seeds with other people that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that for a long time, and I think some have worked out and some haven't. You know, me and you know which ones have worked and which ones haven't.
Yeah.
Right. But again, it's very much a learning experience. But I wanna also make it clear that like my mental clarity is very important. It's very important. So, and I've lived almost 2 different lives now. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, it's 2 different lives.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, pre-pandemic, I was just excited at the fact that people wanted my input or wanted me there or wanted me present there. Right. And I think my mental clarity was very bad up until the pandemic.
Yeah.
And maybe during the pandemic a bit. And I think that that's the most important thing. If you're a business owner that has all these things going on and you need to stay sharp, you can't spend your time on just anything. You just can't. And people might not understand that. And people might not like the fact that, you know, I don't go to that event or I don't go to that party or I won't go to that dinner. But I also probably been to 1,000 of those kind of dinners already and 1,000 of those events. And I know what I get out of it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, me sitting down with someone who really values my opinion is worth way more to me than going to experience a dinner. And again, it might be different for someone listening, but I've done that shit already so much.
I think it
and there was a
depends
point in
where
my
you're
life.
at.
There was a point in my life, bro, where I was like begging God, saying, if I could just stop promoting, I'll be happy with whatever I do. Seriously, bro.
I know.
There was that time, and now I'm at that time. So I'm super grateful.
Of course.
And I'm not spending my time on things that I hated spending my time on before, bro. Like that's just what it is. And like I'm not at the place in my life. Like I have big goals, big dreams. I'm not gonna sit around and talk about the Super Bowl. I just won't. This is not me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
like I don't give a fuck.
I know what you're saying.
I just don't care.
I know what you're saying.
Like it's not in my Rolodex right now of what I need to do with my life. And people might, oh, well, he's always doing this or he's always working. He never comes out or he does this. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's where you. Well, again, I think it's just phases of life, right?
Yeah.
Like phases of life as a human, as an entrepreneur. Like you have these moments of being 100% in it, and then sometimes it's going to be 80 and 60, and then back to 75 and 90.
Dude, I'm 32. So for me, I don't want to work. I don't want to work like this when I'm 42.
Facts. I disagree.
I might, but it might just be. I might just work smarter.
cap.
Like I might
That's
just
cap.
be working smarter, right?
No, but I think you'll be working like this, but it'll just be in something else that you love. Like it'll be more like you'll be in a different role, but still working at this level. Because, bro, you're a lunatic. Like you like this shit.
But I know, and that's why I doubled down on it because I'm like, listen. At the end of the day, like, again, I do a lot of research and studying of people that I want to be like. And I have a lot of similarities to them, and I'm doubling down on those similarities. That's all it is.
Okay, let me.
And
ask you this.
I think people need to do that. I think people need to like, and again, it goes back to the cliche shit of like, don't care what people think and all this bullshit. But you have to do what's best for you. If I'm not strong enough to say, oh well, man, I can't come tonight. What am I gonna do with my life if I'm not strong enough to do that?
Yeah, the most simple, like
the most simple thing.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to just like, and I look at it as reps. Like at the beginning, it was hard to say no to a lot of things, like you said. But then I started saying no. I started saying no again, and no to that. No, I'm not coming. Don't count on me to come to that. No, don't call me. And it gets easier.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually wanted people to get used to me saying no at the same time.
Well, it almost kind of does something where it's like, then when you say yes, it's also like there's a different value now to when you show up.
It goes back to how I value my time.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to turn around and say, oh, well, to talk to me, it's $1,000 an hour. and then I spend 3 hours at Earl's. How does that make sense? How does that make sense, though?
No, it's facts.
Aren't I a hypocrite?
No, it's facts. That's actually facts.
So the same way I treat my hourly rate, I look at that stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's funny because I was talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, "Oh, like, did you do this yet?" And it's all like stupid shit. Like, did you renew your license? Did you book that? Like being a mom, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "Ma, like, no," right? No, number one.
Yeah.
And second of all, I've been on the phone with you for 40 minutes now, and you're having a blast.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if I was to do that other stuff today, we wouldn't be spending 40 minutes on the phone.
Yeah.
It's because I prioritize things.
Yes. Yeah. In you know, I've been also trying to be like that more as well. And I've gone a lot better over the last year.
I think you have too.
And I think I want to make the point for people that like it's also okay to do that for like family events every once in a while.
I do it every twice in a while.
I'm not saying it's like never show up to a family event again, but like real talk, bro. Like if you have shit going on, you don't have to go. Like that's truly my belief. And I've turned down plenty of family events in the last like 6 months for my mental sanity.
Yeah.
And again, I think what ends up happening is a lot of times, and it's no disrespect to our families, but they don't live with the same pressure
For sure.
that we do on a day to day.
For sure.
So they're like, "Oh, what do you mean he's not coming today?" It's like, dude, you don't even know what my life is.
Yeah. Well,
You don't even know what 1% of it is.
I know. And I told you this the other day when I was with my nonno, and he was like, "Well, you work too much. Like, why you work? It's Saturday. Why are you going to the office? It's Sunday. Why are you working?" And I said, "No." And he's very successful in his own right. He did his thing. He worked hard. And I said, no. If someone came to you when you were 32 and said you work too much, well, you know what you would have said to them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
True,
I said,
yeah.
I'm not going to say that to you,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to tell you that.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at right now. Because
Yeah.
again, dude, there's only so much time we have to accomplish our goals.
Facts.
You know, and the same way that I'll say, okay, well, I can't come to dinner tonight, family. In my mind, though, I'm thinking of something even bigger.
Yeah.
I'm saying, well, yeah, I'm going to miss this, but this is for a greater cause so that I can spend 2 weeks with you one day without worrying about work.
Yep. Yeah.
So unless you're a business owner, it's hard to understand that. And again, a lot of the times you might be the only business owner in your family or entrepreneur. It's hard to explain this stuff. So I just simply just say, no, I can't.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This is going to be a pretty deep question. What's something that success has taken away from you? You could think about it. That's a pretty deep
A
question.
lot, like a lot.
Okay, but like what would you say is the most prominent thing that success has taken away from you?
I think like relationships in general, like you could say that about if I was in a romantic relationship or friends, family. I think relationships take a toll, you know, and obviously for me, it's taken a toll. But again, I weigh out the pros and cons of everything I do, and it's just what it is. Like, you know me, like when I don't want to get distracted, I'm not going to get distracted.
Yeah.
So I would say relationships, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But again, if I focused on relationships the last couple of years, then I don't know if I'd be here.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say relationships, time. There's a moment in time where success took my health.
Yeah.
You know, a lot. Yeah. My I would say relationships and just time in general. That's something that you have to sacrifice. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to do it all. You can't do it all.
Yeah. Something's going to fall.
There's something that's going to fall down or be diminished a little bit while you're doing this. And anyone will tell you that. There's no such thing as this whole balance thing when you're trying to do what we're trying to do. Yeah. Right? Obviously, you're in a different situation.
Yeah, but I lost other things. That's the thing.
sure.
I gave my relationship time.
Yeah, but you had to sacrifice other things.
But I sacrificed other things. Health was one of them for me. Right?
And that's usually the first thing that goes, your health, because it's the easiest.
As an entrepreneur, you're like, yeah, but
it's just
fuck
the
the gym.
easiest.
I'm going to Uber Eats everything. I don't
It's
give a
the
fuck.
easiest one to just say, okay, later for now.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, relationships, like, bro, I'm not really like out there like dating people. Like, I don't do that shit. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just a time thing. And it's like again, going back to the mental and valuing your time and all that stuff. Like, it's just not worth my time right now.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
Yeah.
And again, people can understand it. Like if an old friend is watching this and saying, well, yeah, I fall into that boat where our relationship diminished. It's like, I know that was going to happen. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I knew everything that I was doing, what the consequences would be,
Yes.
let's say. And you know a lot of our friends and you know a lot of them still don't understand why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
They still won't.
Yeah.
I could sit down with them all day and tell them, but they won't get it because they're not in my shoes.
Yeah. Again, I think you just have to think of it like when you're chasing a dream so big,
Yeah.
like there's not even a handful of people. There might not even be one person that you grew up with that will ever understand
Yeah.
what it takes, the sacrifices you make, the headspace you got to be in a lot of times. Like, dude, like we were talking, I think it was like a year ago or a year and a half ago, we were in Miami. Remember? And I brought Kelly around and my girlfriend, and we were all talking. She was talking. And she's like, you know how many times I'm talking to this guy and he's like zoned out and he's like, da da da. Like I'm telling, and it's like, I'm bringing this up to make a point of like, dude, like my mind is completely always on like what the fuck is going on with our businesses. Like literally it's 24/7. Even like I'm having combos with my mom and I'm still trying to get better at this. And I'm in the conversation for 10 minutes and the 11th minute, I'm like, oh fuck, did I send that fucking email?
Yeah.
And did the fucking, oh my God, that guy messaged me fucking 4 hours ago. I didn't respond yet. Like, and so yeah, like nobody's going to understand that. No one's going to get it.
And bro, I don't give into pressure.
Yeah.
I don't give into society norms.
Okay. So I want to talk about this.
I just don't.
I want to talk about
I don't care.
I see you as, and there's two pieces to it, but the first piece is I see you as the most resilient person I know.
Thank you.
Like I literally do not know someone who's more resilient than you. And I think that it's funny. Like from the outside looking in, I see it as a blessing and a curse.
For sure. It is.
And when I say that, I'll say that in the sense of business. Like I'll attach that statement to like our business, right? You and I are very different, which is again why I think it works so well. Your resiliency has done this for our business. It has either given a project the right amount of time to finally see it explode. And on the other side, it's given projects maybe too much time that maybe we spent more than we should have, right? So I think that there's both sides. But I bring that up to say, have you always been like that? Is there certain things that you've done in your life to build this resiliency? Because I do see resiliency as a muscle that you have to continuously flex, to get better at it. But like, dude, like they're like, you give everything 100 and like you will give it 100 for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like you really think long term.
Yeah.
Which is again something that's very hard for people to do. People can't put enough love into a business for a week until they give up. I've seen you literally do this for 10 years. So what do you attest that to? Is there things you do? Is there certain people you follow and listen to? Was there certain moments in your life, things that happen? Like, what do you attest it to? Because you've been like that since the first day I met you.
Yeah, I think I've been like that for a long time. I think I always just really wanted to be successful, like very successful, no matter what I did. And you know me, even when I was promoting, I was the same way.
Yeah.
I treated it like I wanted to be the best in Canada.
Yeah. True.
And I took a lot of L's and I took a lot of people not believing in me from the goal. Like, bro, from when I was a kid, like from soccer days, like literally. I remember times where a coach would say I'm not good enough. Like, I'm in a meeting with the coach, I'm fucking 12, 13 with my dad. And he's like, well, he's just not good enough. And then the next 6 months, I'm in my driveway, kicking the ball back and forth with both my feet until I become better. And I don't look at, and again, I said this on another pod, but I think life is long.
Yeah.
I don't think life is short. And I think maybe I attest that to me living so many lives already. Like I played soccer for a good chunk of my life. I went to the States. That was a whole thing for me. Then I did promoting. Now I'm here.
So many lives, so many lifetimes.
So
man.
I really look at it like, yeah, this shit takes time. And the resiliency comes from like, again, I think I'm born with a little bit of it from my family and what they've done. But I also just believe like I've taken a lot of L's and I've taken there's been a lot of moments where I felt ashamed of where I was at. And I just never wanted to feel that way. There's been times in all those lives that I just named where I felt like, oh, this person thinks I can't do this. And that's all I need.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if,
That's enough.
If you say like, I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I don't care how long it takes. Right. And it's just a belief in myself. I think at this point in my life, like I really believe, and when I say me, I'm also talking about you.
Yeah.
But I really believe we have a really good chance at building something massive. Like not even the top 1%. I think me and you can be in the top 0.01%. And I carry that belief with me with whatever we do. And I also want to show people that I can fucking win.
Yeah.
Because if you have a good track record of winning, you build trust. So I think I've always had it. And I think I've always worked on that muscle throughout all those different lives that I mentioned. And I think it's brought me here. And if you ask me now how I'm resilient, I would say it's from those last lives.
Yeah.
The last 2 lives.
Okay. And I guess that for me bleeds into the second piece of, I see you as the most resilient guy I know, person I know. But the other side of it is I see you as the person who literally gives the least fucks about what anybody thinks. Like truly, like I look at you, I'm like, this guy literally walks around like anyone's opinion of him like does not matter.
No.
Like,
and
I'm just trying to, like, I really want to stress that to people. Like, it's not like, oh, he's putting on a front like he's this cool guy, like he doesn't care. No. Like, this guy does not give a fuck about what anybody thinks. And it's like, I think I realized that early on with you when it was like club days. We always tell JD stories. It's hilarious. Like pink shoes, skinny jeans, fucking purple shirt, red hat. Like you, like the way you used to pull up to the club, I was like, oh, this guy doesn't give a fuck.
No.
Like this guy doesn't give a fuck, bro.
I don't. I really don't. But and to explain that is like other people's opinions didn't get me here.
Yeah, true.
My opinion got me here.
But you have to build that confidence, I think.
You do, but you also have to take the risk to build that confidence. Like, okay, go back to me wearing something wild to the club. Maybe the first time people were looking at me like, yo, what the fuck? And the second time and the third time.
Yeah.
But by the fourth time, they're just like, that's Ernesto.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That's true. That's literally true.
So it's also reps with not giving a fuck until the point where everyone knows you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And
damn,
you said like, I don't know anyone that doesn't give a fuck as much as me, but you could probably name a few people that you watch on YouTube and stuff that have that similar trait.
Sure.
People that I look up to or you look up to, they don't give a fuck.
But I've seen you do it in like phases. So it's like, I seen you do it from like early days was like the way you dressed.
Yeah.
You didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that was like I'd say like a creative expression and also a way of just, like, I feel like you did it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you did it a lot of times just to be like, fuck you. Like I'll literally do whatever I want.
Most of the time.
Most
of the time.
And so I think that was like one way. And then over the pandemic, when we decided to get like vocal, then it went from like you doing it through like your clothing and your fashion to like your words now.
Yeah.
And that was like a different way of doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I think the third, and like, I won't say final, but then the third version of that was what we were talking about earlier, where it was like, I just won't show up places if I don't feel like it. And I don't feel like there's value for me to be there.
Why?
See, but like that's growth.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, my first way of not giving a fuck or showing people that I don't give a fuck is like dressing a certain way, like dressing crazy. but you still showed up to events maybe that you didn't care to go to, and you wouldn't say certain things.
Yeah.
Then
That
it
was
like,
my way of expressing it.
correct. Then the second way was like with your words, we sat in front of a bunch of mics, started saying quote unquote crazy things to the public. And then it was like, oh, I'm just not going to show up to places if I don't want to.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? It's that sort of like progression.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think people can learn a lot from that because
Well, it's also like I have so much confidence in myself.
yeah, I agree.
That's a main thing. Like when we say we don't give a fuck, like it really stems from having confidence in yourself. If you don't have confidence in yourself, you can't do that. If I wore what I wore, but the whole time I'm worried about, oh my God, are these people like looking at me weird? And that's two different things. True. I didn't care about that. It stems from confidence. And I've always very, very much been a very confident person. Even if I wasn't really confident at a certain time, I would still show or pretend I'm confident. That's it. I just always looked at myself as someone that's going to be at the top one day. And I want people to know that at all times.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to get, here's the thing too, is like, you always have to be real. Like how long have I always been real?
Well, since I know you.
That's it. So now when I say something, you're going to believe me. Or you're going to say, okay, well, if he did all that,
Yeah.
well, he's going to lie to me now?
Yeah.
Or he's going to pretend now? It's a muscle. It's another muscle that you continuously build to the point where you're locked in. You know what you have to care about. Everything else is outside noise. That's it.
Let me ask you this, and then I want to move to a little bit of business stuff quickly. Who do you go to for advice? Do you have somebody you go to for advice? Is it a person specifically? Is it certain, people that you watch online? Is it yourself and taking time to think about things? Like who do you go to? Or is there somebody you go to?
I mean, I think at different phases of my life, there's always been people, right? Let's say I was in nightlife. I would look up to people that were more successful than me in nightlife. When I was in nightlife, I would watch videos of Charles Caboose.
Sure.
And just be like, what's this guy saying? Or how's he talking? Or what's important to him? And then as things progressed, it's tough because, and again, like you would know this, like what we're trying to do is very different. And it's like we're building our own recipe right now. I think when it comes to life, I'll always go to my mom.
For sure.
I'll go to my sister. I think some business stuff, mindset-wise, I'll go to my grandfather. But then I really look up to people I watch online. I really look up to the Gary V's. I really look up to the PBDs. I really think that they have something similar to what we want. And that's why I look up to them so much. And that is how I've been able to continuously grow those things, like the resilience, like the confidence, because I'm looking at them, right? And obviously I come to you too.
For sure,
I'll ask you things too, right? But I also think I'm a bit older than you. We do have different lives, right? Like we have very similar lives in a way, but then we also have very different lives. So, and I spend a lot of time with myself, right? And that's something that you have to do. I think a lot of people don't do that. I think they feel like they need answers from outside. They need affirmations from the outside world, where it's like, bro, you can give that to yourself. And I'm all about self-growth and figuring things out on my own and how can I be better at that? But it's really tough. It's really tough. I don't think I was ever blessed to have like a mentor.
Yeah.
If I did, maybe I'd be even more successful. But I kind of enjoy figuring things out on my own.
Yeah, there's a beauty to that. And I think like I'm very similar in that sense where when I'm dealing with something personal or business wise or whatever, like a lot of times I will sit with myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and I've said this before, I feel like we always know the answer.
For sure.
We always know the answer, or we always at least know the direction we think we should go in or what the answer might be. But you're right. A lot of times people, like, they want to hear it from someone else as if their own gut feeling isn't enough.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't trust their own gut feeling enough to make decisions, which then turns into either getting advice from somebody that's the wrong decision or taking too long to act or execute on what their gut feeling is, and they're being missed opportunities.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
So that's a piece that I totally agree with you. People gotta spend more time with themselves and like think when you're in a moment of uncertainty or a big decision needs to be made or life decision, like trust your gut.
Yeah.
And it may not always be right. I think majority of the time it will be, but
sure.
you may not always make the right decision, but that's also just a part of life,
100%.
right? Fucking up, choosing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But you learn from it, and that's just part of your journey. A lot of people don't do that enough.
And I just want to make a point as well, is like, I spent a lot of time in my past with other people all the time. I was always around a lot of people, or was always around a group of people. And I was always doing things for other people. And there came a point where I just said, well, all that time I gave, whether it was through nightlife, through relationships, for other people, I now have to give to myself. And going back to it, giving people my energy, spending time with people, that actually, those help me. That's kind of almost like I'm talking to myself, where I'm like, okay, if I'm speaking to someone and they're asking me a question, I'm almost talking to them as if they're a version of me that I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then by the time I'm done with it, I actually spoke to myself maybe.
Yeah. A version of yourself.
Right? It's kind of like you told this person what was really on your mind to help them.
Yeah.
Now help you.
Yeah. Use it for yourself.
Right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people, you see it, right? And again, I go back to it, and it's like, there was a lot of relationships I was in where I was just the yes man. Oh, you want to do this? Yes. You want to do this? Yes. I just thought that was the right way to do things.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the respectful and kind way to live a life. Seriously.
No,
always just saying yes. Hey, you want to do this? Yeah, sure, let's do it. Hey, you want me to drive there? Okay, cool, I'll do it. You want to travel there? Okay, I'll do it. You want me to come set this up and do this with you guys? Okay, I'll do it. And then I realized, like, I'm doing all this for other people and zero for myself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people go through it. You see a guy go through a breakup. And what's he doing the next day? He's in the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, why didn't you just go to the gym the whole time?
Yeah. You lose like focusing on yourself.
In a
People
huge
tend
way.
to do that.
In a huge way.
They can't find that balance.
Or you see someone, they finally quit their 9 to 5 and they're like, see them like living their life and they're happy. And I think that I was blessed to actually experience that at a young age.
Yeah.
Because I think people still are in situations where they're waking up every day and they have to say yes to everything.
Brutal.
And that's it's so sad.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, I always use the example, like a guy in a breakup, after the breakup, all of a sudden he has 3 side jobs and he's getting jacked and he's traveling and he's with his friends again. And it's like, why didn't you just do that to begin with?
Yeah.
And some people never even get there. Some people will be yes men their whole life.
Which is
crazy, right? Where it's like, there's a time and place to do it.
Yeah.
There's a time and place to say yes. Everyone's got to learn to say no. Say no. You don't want to do something, say no. If you hurt someone's feelings, it's okay. But stop hurting your own feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
To make other people happy. That again, I've done that for years and years and years. And I'm telling you, the payoff isn't that good.
No, you see it. You see people like wake up. Like I've seen family members wake up at 50 years old, literally, and be like, I've lived my life for everyone else. And all of a sudden they're in this depression because they're just like, holy fuck, that was 50 years of pleasing everyone but myself. What kind of life is that?
And I looked at my life like that. I said, well, I can't live my whole life like this. If I get to 50 years old and then I look back and I'm mad, well, no one's going to give a fuck.
No one cares. Yeah, exactly.
What do you go, oh, I'm mad. I said yes too many times to people.
Yeah.
And I spent too much time on things I shouldn't have spent time on.
Yeah, it's your fucking problem.
Bro, you're a man. No one's going to care. You should have made the right decision.
Even if you're a woman, it's the same fucking
I'm just saying
yeah.
in terms of if you're a man or woman, but if you're a man and especially a man, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because a woman, you still feel empathy for. Men, it's hard.
See, I don't know. Like, see, like, I'm tough. I know you're the same way. I'm tough. Like on my mom and my sister,
No, me too.
I'm very tough.
Me too.
So when we have conversations like this, for example, it's like, oh, I did this and I should have done. I'm an asshole.
And that's another thing too. Like sometimes I'll talk to my fam and like I expect them to almost, that's the way I am. And sometimes it's a curse. It's almost like a disease that I want people to see things the way I see them. Like that I'll force it. I'll be like, well, do this. Trust me. You have to.
Yeah.
And then sometimes not everyone's me.
Yeah.
Right. So the way I am with people, I don't expect my sister to be like that with people.
Sure.
I'm me.
Yeah.
Now there's things she can take from the way I do things, or there's things she does that I could take. But I think that's another point too, where it's like sometimes, and this, I don't even think this is a good thing. Sometimes I try to make people see the things I see and do the things I do, just because I think that it's been successful for me. So I'm just like, oh, I'll be successful for you.
Yeah.
Right. And I think sometimes I go overboard there where I'm just like, well, what am I doing? Like, obviously you're a completely different person. But again, to go back to it, you have to say no. If there's one thing I wish I knew earlier in life, it's to say no.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
That's also just a muscle you need to flex.
And you start small.
Yeah.
Just say no to something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You might feel a little bit like, oh, fuck, like, did I do the right thing? And then the next day comes and it's okay.
Yeah. You're like,
And
oh,
you're
no,
okay.
actually nothing happened.
Because
Yeah.
guess what? It's happening again next week. And in 2 weeks, you have the opportunity again. Right? So it's like, spend more time on yourself. Say no to things in the outside world that don't bring you value or joy.
Yeah.
And you'll find yourself living a much happier life.
Yeah.
You know, you might be 21 right now and you're scared to say no to something this Sunday.
Yeah.
Dude, you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine.
Yes.
You're going to be 22, then you're going to be 23, and then you're going to be 24. You're going to have more opportunities.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have to say no, and that goes into all of it of me just like being very strict on my time and my energy and all that stuff. It all comes together.
Yeah. Just growing into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we end,
Yeah.
I want to just quickly touch on business.
Yeah.
And where we're at and what's going on and everything we're doing. We obviously have a lot going on. We had a lot of conversations. I just want to give people like a behind the scenes, right? We had a lot of discussions early in the year about where we wanted to be with MBH, TV, especially the network and all these things. But further to that, we had conversations about just where we were going to take it, where we thought it could go, all these different things. And so I want you to just give people an overall synopsis of where we're currently at and like where you see the business in, let's say, 5 years. Like what your dream for MBH TV and the network is in the next 5 years, and even just the MBH brand like us as well.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll start with neighborhood. I think neighborhood is in the best place it's ever been.
For sure.
I think we took a lot of risk opening something like this, building a bigger team. But neighborhood is in the best place it's ever been. It took 6 years.
Yeah.
It takes 6 years, guys.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And we're still not exactly where we want to be.
Yeah.
We're still not even close, but we're in the best position we've ever been. We have a solid team. We're doing things with really cool brands, really cool clients. I'm very happy. There's a lot of synergy with the team. There's a lot of momentum right now with neighborhood.
A ton.
And I'm very happy. The plan is for neighborhood, there's going to be a lot of Miami action for neighborhood in the coming 6 months.
Yep.
Take over Miami with neighborhood. Very happy with neighborhood. When it comes to the network, I'm still learning a lot about the network. Things change with society and the algorithms and content, the way distribution happens, and we're learning as we go. But network-wise, I want to have one of the biggest networks in North America. And I think we can.
Yeah, it's possible.
And I think, shout out the team at MBH TV. Shout out to talent. because they're coming along for the ride with us. I think we've created a lot of momentum with the network and our show, Money Buys Happiness. And when it comes to Money Buys Happiness, I think that me and you kind of realize the direction we want to go now. And we're going to be two of the coolest creators in North America, like within the next 5 years. Like, you're going to want to work with us. You're going to want to watch our stuff. We're gonna give back hundreds of thousands of dollars to the community and the people that watch us. And that's really what I want, right? Because I want to have more impact on people. Mm-hmm. If we have more impact on people, more people will fall in love with our brand.
Yeah.
So I think impact is key. And I think us always continuously building. I think we've done a good job of adapting. And like, you know, we've had this podcast for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that takes a lot of adapting to new things and trying new things. Like, me and Anth are not afraid to try new things. And you have to try new things at a high level. Don't try a little thing and, oh, let's see if this little thing works. Like, go big when you try something. Really see if it works, you know? So for our pod, I see us continuously growing. Mm-hmm. We're going to start streaming, which is going to be huge.
That's what I'm excited about.
I'm pumped, right? You're going to see a different kind of, hopefully even pod soon, where we're streaming. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you guys think in the comments about that. But we want to start streaming the pods live. The giveaway stuff's only going to keep growing.
Yeah, with so many cool ideas.
We got the Discord that's about to take off. This will be out.
Yeah.
The Discord's about to take off. We're trying to build like a community of tens of thousands of people that really believe in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And that's something that you realize, if you guys have followed us for a while, is that we're always about community as well. Because we see it from both ends. We see people that build community and how successful they are, and people that don't build community, how limited they are. Mm-hmm. So we really want Money Buys Happiness to be a worldwide brand that's recognized for its content, its conversations, its giving back, right? And Anth and I are going to head that off. So I don't want to say, you know, we're going to have 1 million subs, or I don't care about that. Yeah. If we do what we say we're going to do, all those things will come into fruition. We know it.
Yep.
It's the same thing with money. Like, oh, when are we going to get sponsors? Or when are we going to... You put the work in, you do what you believe in, calculated strategy, do something unique, and all that stuff will come. So network-wise, that, you know, the Money Buys Happiness is going to go crazy right now with Discord and everything we have planned. Guys, we're going to be streaming, giving money away, doing fun stuff. The pod is going to be a lot of me and Anth. Still going to tap in big guests, especially when we're in Miami. And that's it. But again, I'll even bring up the Wealth Club, which is something we closed.
Yeah.
Right. And not everything works, guys.
Yeah.
That's something that you got. And it's not that it didn't work. It's more so like, you can't do everything.
Yes.
Right. And it goes back to how me and you divide our time. We're both doing different things. You can't do everything. And that was something where I just strongly believed, if I can't give 100% to something, I'm not going to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not fair to people. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's stuff that doesn't work sometimes. And if you guys have been following us for a while, you guys will know that, obviously. But we do have big plans. We're going to keep putting our money where our mouth is, keep trying new things, keep trying to be innovative.
Yep. The streams. Before we end this, I'm so fucking amped for the streams.
I'm pumped.
I'm amped for the Discord. Like, that's where we're really going to build our community, to give people perspective on like just the way we operate. Like, we've done, I think, 10 giveaways now.
Something like that.
Close to 10, if not 10, which is $10,000 we've given already in the last 10 weeks. And we built the text community to like 3,000 people. And we're trying to migrate that over to Discord, because we want to be able to give back to not just people in Toronto or the surrounding areas, but like everybody.
Yeah.
And so we're going to build this fucking Discord that we're going to utilize for like flying people out to things, doing crazy shit. But the streams I'm so amped for, because I told you this, and I want to just put this out there into the world, and maybe I should stop doing this all the time, but I always want to. I told you at the beginning of the year when we were like, hey, what's the direction? I said, we got to start doing the giveaways again, which we've done.
Yep.
And I said, because I think that there is an opportunity for there to be like a Mr. Beast 2.0, but live streaming version.
Yeah.
So hopefully Mr. Beast doesn't hear this and just do that, because then we're fucked.
He won't.
No, I'm just kidding. But he won't. He likes his productions. But I think that we literally could take on that role
Yeah.
with Money Buys Happiness, and it fits our brand perfectly. So I'm just manifesting it for us, so like we can step into the role of like a Mr. Beast 2.0 in the live streaming world, and just be like monsters in the give back space.
For sure. I think we can. And just one thing I want to touch on the Discord compared to the text community is like, guys, we want to know you too.
Facts.
We want to know who supports us. We want to engage with you guys. We want to see you, right? So it's like that was a big thing for us with the text community. Is like, but we don't know you guys. We're just sending a text and you're receiving it.
And that's
that, right? But we want to actually build relationships with the people that have been supporting us and following us. And I think that this is going to be an amazing way to do that.
Facts.
Yeah.
Guys, that's a wrap, okay? If you made it this far, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. We have the Discord link in the description. Join the Discord. We're giving cash away in the Discord. So it doesn't matter if you're from Toronto, Canada. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can win money. We're giving it back every week. We're doing something cool, exciting, different. Tap into the Discord because we're also doing a bunch of other stuff besides the give back stuff. We're chatting. We're going crazy. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And of course, we'll see you guys next week.